What's up guys, DK here with Collector's Impact, and today is going to be a fun little video. We're going to do a product comparison between the Card Saver 1 grading cases and or just card cases from Cardboard Gold versus the Sharkz cases from Card Shark, of course. So as far as I'm aware, this is a pretty new brand. They're trying to make quite an impact out there and be a nice competitor here for these tried and true Cardboard Gold card savers. So these come in size 1 and 2, and there's probably some other variants for taller cards and whatnot. I personally just use Card Saver 1. This is what I store most of the cards that I'm going to grade in. Alright, so how we're going to do this is we're going to compare them on 5 different points. So we'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, if you like this type of content and if you find the video helpful at the end, for sure, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel. I greatly appreciate it. It helps with the algorithms and all that. So definitely thank you for that. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, or of course just other content regarding collectibles and cards and grading and all of that kind of stuff for PSA and other companies, SGC, CGC, GMA, all that stuff, we cover it on the channel, so definitely subscribe to the Collector's Impact. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to compare these two by is the packaging. So these are the Card Sharkz. This is how I received them from the seller of these, and I bought them from the official Card Sharkz eBay seller account. So I'm not sure of all of the places that you can buy them, so this may not be too fair of a comparison, but these were from their official eBay page, and this is how they shipped them to me, was in this little plastic bin. I bought 100 of them. So whereas for the Card Saver ones, if you buy them in bulk, buying 200 or more holders, you get them in these nice boxes. You get this nice branded box, and this is what the packets normally look like. They come in packs of 50, and they're all nice and well packaged in there. Overall, the packaging on the Cardboard Gold Card Saver is definitely better than that of the Card Sharkz. So on that point, 1 of 5, the Card Savers definitely win. One thing to really note here as well is these were sent in kind of an envelope, so when you open them up, considering that there's a lot of moisture in the air this time of year, lots of humidity and whatnot, you may notice, well, you may not be able to see, okay, right there. Yeah, you see that weird little film, oily film or whatever that's inside the case. That is actually inside of it. So you have to open it, pop it, and then it kind of goes away afterwards, which is, something that I've noticed on products before in the past, penny sleeves and things like that. But I'm kind of like OCD when it comes to this kind of stuff, so usually if a case has that kind of situation going on with it, just to avoid any potential risk of exposure to moisture with my cards, I tend to avoid putting cards in cases that have this kind of a situation going, just in case it is actual moisture. So not all of the cases in the packet have that issue, but a few of them at the front do. So that is just something to take note of. That's just my personal experience. If you order them, I don't think that you'll have that exact experience. I would hope not. But yeah, that's just one thing to note because of the packaging. Whereas the Cardboard Gold comes in the cardboard, case, which definitely helps to prevent moisture. So just something to keep in mind there. Alright, so for point number 2, design. Let's go ahead and see these. You know what? I'm going to just dim down the lighting a little bit in here, you guys. We're going to have to get nice and sentimental lighting going on here. So let's so that there's not as much reflection. Okay, so here we have on the right, you've got the Card Shark, and on the left, this is your traditional Card Saver 1. So you can see right away that the Card Shark is a lot shinier. I mean, a lot shinier. You can see the reflection of the light up there pretty well. So it's a little bit clearer, that's for sure. And overall design, they are pretty much the exact same size, or very, very close to it, which is nice because you can do a mix and match. So you can, if you're submitting to PSA or any other grading service, you can easily, if you run out of card savers, you can switch to card Sharkz and vice versa. It really doesn't have that much of an impact. Overall thickness is pretty much the exact same. So let's go ahead and move to point number 3, which is how well does a card actually fit in the sleeve. So let's go ahead and go for the Card Saver 1. Now, it's always kind of a challenge getting these things into a fresh case anyway, but let's just pretend here that I've got 2 Dr. Lights and I'm going to send them both off for grading. So there's my one in the Card Saver 1 case. That's pretty much how I like to usually pack them in. A little bit of space on the bottom there and try to get it as centered as possible. So very, very snug fit, very good feeling in the Card Saver 1. No complaints or issues there. Everything feels nice and sealed up, no weird loose space. It definitely feels like it would be well protected for the journey. So let's see if the Card Shark can do the same. Yeah, it's a little bit more rigid, just a little bit more rigid of an experience than the Card Saver 1, but depending on your preference, you might actually like that a little bit more. So yeah, it is a definite nice fit. Once it's in there, it feels very sturdy. It's crystal clear, so that's really nice. It is clearer. You can tell that it is clearer, the Card Shark. Definitely. So if you're actually like putting them in these to keep in your personal collection and look at them and admire them over the years, the Card Shark is definitely a clearer case. But if you're just worried about shipping, they're pretty much equal in that regard. So for this particular one, I'm going to give it to Card Shark, actually, in terms of the overall fit and feel. It feels really well protected. It's not as bendy as this one is. These tend to have like little divots and stuff in the areas where the card is not there, whereas this Card Shark, for this entire body of the case, it feels pretty solid all throughout. So I like that. It's more akin to a top loader in feel, but actually being one of these like card flap situations. It's very nice. So actually my point number 4, I already touched on it, which was the clarity. Yeah, definitely comparing the two, the Card Shark is definitely clearer. You can see it very well with the naked eye. Again, these are the exact same card, so go ahead and use your judgment while looking at them to see which one looks clearer to you, the one on the right or the one on the left. And now they've switched, but you know, well, to me, the one in the Card Saver 1 looks a bit darker through the plastic than the one with the Card Saver. The Card Saver is a little bit more bright and vibrant, so if you're definitely going for that, the clarity, the Card Shark wins. And then the 5th and final point is the overall price. How much do these things cost? That's a pretty big driving factor, right? When you're talking about, especially if you're going to be dealing with bulk submissions and things like that. A box of 200 of the Card Saver 1s will cost an average of $100, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on market condition. But I would say $25 per pack of 50 and then the multi-pack for $100. On average is what you're going to be looking to pay for this box. Whereas a comparable box or a comparable packet of 200 of these Card Sharks will run about $60 to $70. So that is a pretty decent discount of a good 30 to 40% off there in comparison to the two. So my only thing with that, again, is if they all come in these plastics, which I'm no expert on this, you guys. I'm just a guy on YouTube, just sharing this information and these experiences with you. Yeah, the one thing to think about is definitely if they all come in this plastic, they may have some of that weird film and or moisture, whatever that is, on some of the front ones. So if you're like me and you don't want that kind of stuff touching your cardboard, you're going to have to end up throwing away a good 10 or so of the things. So even though it's less for the packet, you're going to, if this happens to you, you'll technically have less cases. But I think that it's kind of negligible in the overall comparison in terms of how much each individual case costs, the card Sharkz definitely went out in the price category. Now, overall impressions in regards to these, for the comparisons that I did, Card Shark is the winner. But I will say that the Cardboard Gold Card Saver ones are a very well-established brand, and their quality control is very good. I don't know that much about Card Shark in terms of their quality control and how consistent each batch is and that kind of a thing, because I've just started purchasing them and using them, and they're pretty new as far as I'm aware. So there's not, Card Saver 1 here has years of use in the industry, so that is a point in its favor just in terms of general discussion. And a reason that even though Card Saver is the winner of this comparison test here, there are still going to be people that would prefer the Card Saver one because of its brand notoriety and general quality control that it's known to have. So just like any other sort of a name brand situation, that's something to consider. But if you're willing to try something new and you want a good option, these Card Sharkz are definitely good. And then I should do a comparison with the Ultra Pro ones. The Ultra Pro versus the Card Saver one, to me, there's no comparison. Hopefully I don't hurt anyone's feelings with that, but the Card Saver one wins hands down against the Ultra Pro. So therefore, logically, the Card Sharkz would win hands down against those Ultra Pro ones too. They're just not of the same caliber. Whereas these are pretty comparable. So yeah, very long-winded little discussion there. Hopefully you guys found that interesting and useful, helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Again, it really does help. And if you want to see more stuff like this in the future, or especially if you want to see some PSA reveals and submissions and discussions about cards and collectibles in the market and all of that, please subscribe to the Collector's Impact. Would love to have you along for the ride. So thanks again for coming by. Really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again next time. Take care.